Hey, welcome back to Coffee with the Dead with me, ParaAnne. It's been 3 weeks since I've done a YouTube show, I think, right? I did, the last episode was Facebook Live, and I may have done one more since then on the book face, but you know, quarantine time. It's like one long day since March. So, what have I been doing? Where have I been? What's been going on? Well, I need to cut my bangs for starters because they look a mess right now, and I'm sure those of you watching me on video are like, what is she doing? Well, okay, I think I can live with that now. Alright, hey Melissa, welcome. So I have been going out under Spirit's Wake. As I said before, the group was being resurrected, and we were going to start doing investigations again. And we have been going out with the WereWoofs crew. They will be on next week. I will have 𝕊𝕦𝕡𝕡𝕠𝕜, the founder and organizer and leader of this group, come on to explain, a more detail than I than I really can do it justice of. But so Bill, he runs his huskies. He has 4 huskies, and they're attached to a bike. Again, he can give you the details on the bike. I do not remember what kind of bike it is, but it is freaking cool. And it's like French or something, and like in France you could actually get this bike to be street legal, even though like you just pedal it. But I think like there's some kind of like way battery option to make it like more like motorized. Don't know. Anyway, so he's been running his huskies for 20 years or something, right? And he likes to go on trails like state park, like hiking trails and things like that. And he has been going through a lot of places, all over. Mainly like, trying to think. I guess like kind of like PA and like Western Maryland area, and he started discovering, there's a lot of just abandoned or rundown or neglected or, strange structures and kind of pieces of history laying about in the forests that, these trails run through. And I'm sure you guys have noticed that too. If you've ever gone out, hiking, even just like in a state park or anywhere, you see like pieces of old foundation, or you see maybe like just, remains of like farms and barbed wire from the fences. Maybe you just like see things, right? And so Bill got the idea that, oh, this is kind of strange. There's no markers. There's, nobody talks about these things. They're just laying there like they're just scenery nowadays. So why not investigate it? Get the history on it, and also maybe see if it's haunted. So he put the WereWoofs crew together. When they run on the bikes, they're called Woof Driver. Now it's WOOF, woof, like, like a dog. And they are the WERE wolves when doing these investigations. So about this time last year, actually, they got in touch with me, and at the time they had some interest from a network. I don't know if it was A&E or Sci-Fi or I don't know, somebody. Again, Bill will fill in all the details next week. But they had some communications open to kind of like, I don't know if it was to do a show or if they were going to be doing like just like the one-off episode or something. But that didn't work out, as oftentimes going like, mainstream tends not to work out for one reason or another. Either you just don't like it, or it doesn't last, or whatever. So I hadn't heard from them. I figured, oh, they forgot about me, but no, alas. We are in October, so yeah, just September, just about a month ago, they got back in touch with me and asked if I was still interested, and it was more along the lines of, okay, so the line of conversation went more like, here's a random message from the person that I was talking to last year. His name is Sean. So here's a message from Sean all of a sudden that says, hey, Anne, Bill and his crew are going out in 3 days at this site. Do you wanna come? And so I'm like, oh, hey, yes, I want to come. I will be there. And then, in my head, I'm like, wow, okay, I haven't heard from y'all in like over a year. All right, let's see how this goes. Just, there's no, we're just picking up right where we left off, conversation wise. Just, instead of, it being a full year, it's like it's only been, a day or something that passed in the conversation, because I think last year we ended with like, okay, I'll let you know, what the schedule's going to be like, or, I'll let you know when and where, or something like that, and then I never heard back until last month, and then it's just like, alright, no time's passed at all, 3 days, let's go, we're coming, we're going, you wanna come? So, I went, and then I went again, and again, and I'm going again next week, or this week rather, right, today is Sunday. So, we're going out once a week now, for the foreseeable future, I guess, until it just gets like too cold. It's already really cold at night, because we're going out from like 8 o'clock at night until about 2 a.m. and it's getting chilly. I don't know how many of you are awake or track the weather. Anyway, it's been getting down to like 38, 40 degrees, and like we've been going up into the mountains and deep into the woods, looking for, these sites that Bill has seen. So it's been pretty cold already, but we're gonna keep going as long as we can. I mean, the huskies, the dogs, they are loving life. They're cold weather dogs, so they're pretty happy. And so Bill runs them during the day, and then by the time everyone shows up to do an investigation, the pups are tuckered out and going to sleep, and he's got them all set up in their little, actually it's huge, puppy limo with, each dog has an assigned seat, and the door handles have been modified to hold their water bowls and, whatever. And they just sit right, they know the dogs climb in and they walk right to their assigned spots. They sit down and they sleep or hang out. They're very quiet, very, very mild-mannered dogs, and they are freaking so cute. Oh my god, love them all. So fluffy. And there's one of the females has a bit darker coloring, and you can tell because her size, she's a little smaller than the other three, but oh my god, and she's just, I love her. She's adorable. She might be my favorite. So we have been going to Hang on, getting some messages. Isn't it funny when you take a screenshot of your home screen? It's hilarious. So, we started out going up in Pennsylvania, and then the last 2 weekends we went to Western Maryland, which ended up being more like West Virginia, literally on the border. So, we stayed at the Paw campground, and as soon as you turn out of the campground and you go left, like a quarter of a mile, you're right back in Maryland. So literally, like, we were on the border, but it was awesome. We got to stay in a renovated bus, kind of like an Airbnb feel. You know how they always have like those like funky, fun, like rooms. Like in Idaho, there's a luxury potato you can stay in. So this bus is awesome. Like when we pulled up, I thought somebody drove their bus there and was staying in one of the cabins. I knew we were staying in, the bus, and I knew to look for a bus, but I don't know. I guess once we got there, it just looked so much like a parked vehicle and not like a room that it threw me off. But when you go inside, it looked like a room. I mean, nice floors. It had a heater, air conditioning, a water cooler, a queen size bed, which is like huge if you think you're just staying in a bus. And also the bus, it looks more like a van to me. I was expecting, when I hear bus, I'm expecting like a certain shape, but this was more boxy and short. I don't know. But anyway, there was a TV with a DVD player, and in the drawer under the TV was a bunch of DVDs to play and watch. Obviously no cable, but they did have a Wi-Fi hotspot. And then what else was in? Oh, they had a microwave and a refrigerator, a coffee press, or a French press rather. Oh, hey Patrick, welcome. I think it's been a while since you've been able to tune in. Good to see you. And when you walk up to the bus, first of all, it's like a tiny home. I mean, they really give you that feeling because there's a welcome mat in front of the door, and then there's like a lockbox so you can put in your code and go inside. Like, we have electric locks here at the house, so to me it just felt like home because that's how I get in and out normally anyway. And right when you walk in, you're like, boom, it's the driver's seat is still there, and the dashboard, and all that. And you can like turn the little thing to flip the what's that, like scroll the like where you're going to sign. Like, it's cool. It was so cold. Did I already say that? Because it was freaking cold. But it was worth it. We went to the Paw Tunnel, and we had a guide the whole time. So this was this was actually, we got back yesterday. All right, yeah, it's so like everything's just blurring together because like the last 2 Saturdays in a row, I'm getting home at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and then I'm going to sleep until like 9 at night to like recover. So I'm like, to me, it feels like I've been home for like 2 days, but it's really like I've only been home like today. I don't know. The sense of timing is weird. But we can save the whole time continuum conversation for another episode. So we had a guide the last 2 Saturdays, what I'm saying. His name was Billy, and so last weekend we did Stick Pile Tunnel, which some of you have seen the pictures, and it has the sign on the gate that says want to play a game. And then this weekend we did Paw Tunnel, which is super cool. It's like the longest canal tunnel in the world. It's no longer used. They only used it for like 20 years because by the time it was built and put into use and everything, the railroads were invented, and it was quicker and safer and whatever. So they took over, but it still exists, and obviously the canal still goes through it and everything. I think it's like mile and a half long. Bill can confirm that. He knows like the historical stuff a little better than I do. But there was a murder there, and it's neat architecture. I mean, like so you got the canal tunnel, right, and then on either side there's a stone staircase that goes up to a stone balcony that goes across the length of the tunnel, and then half the tunnel is water, and the other half is a paved walkway with a railing. Well, it's neat. So you can still like hike right through there if you if that's your thing. We went about halfway in, and then we came back out and just sat around the outside because there was actually a murder there, and well, we thought there was a murder there, and then later on, like some of us sitting around googling and whatnot, figured out that the murder was actually like a mile and a half in the opposite direction. Someone had burned down a cabin, and there was a man inside of it who was burned alive. But we didn't find the site of the cabin. It's like completely, just like gone now. It's just an empty field. But on top of the Paw Tunnel, there is a mass grave. It's about, oh geez. Again, Bill can fill in the details. I don't remember how many people. 1,000 people, or it's a lot. There's a lot of people in it, and there were racial unrest and race riots in the town of Paw Paw, West Virginia, where the tunnel is, obviously, and it got really violent because there was immigrants to do the construction of the tunnel, and between the locals and the immigrants, there was a lot of disagreements. The locals didn't know why they couldn't just do the work, why they had to bring in immigrants, and the immigrants were like, hey, I'm just here to do a job. So things got crazy, things got violent, and like everybody died pretty much. So when you go up to the mass grave, there were, I think we found 3 headstones. One was maybe for a dog or maybe for a person, I'm not sure, but there was a dog tag or like a rabies dog tag hanging on a stone. And then there were 4, because there were 3 gravestones in a row that we saw. It was all family. So one was for like a 1-year-old baby, and then there was like a 3-year-old, and then there was, I think, an 8-year-old, and I think the baby's name was Jacob. That was the boy, and I think the other 2 were girls. So we have been using really cool equipment. Really, really cool equipment. Bill has like the wish box of gear, like if you could just like get everything, like, yeah. So we've been playing around and experimenting with different ways to record. There hasn't been a whole lot happening on these trips while we're there, but we have gotten some EVPs after the fact. So we're starting to experiment with how to, monitor. What's the best way to do live monitoring? If we're going to have a speaker that, can play out loud should anything come up, or if we should, have a dedicated recorder person who, sits with headphones to listen, or if we take turns, or if whatever. The coolest thing I think that's happened is at Styckpile Tunnel. Right when we walked up, we had the obelisk, so that it works kind of like a ghost box. So the ghost box is AM, FM radio scanner, frequency scanner. Now, I mean, usually it's just like blips, like, stuff like that. But the thought process behind that is that the static from scanning the radio channels, helps our brains like block out any noise and kind of like filter things. So if we hear like a clear word or string of words that actually go together, the chances of that should be pretty low, considering that it's scanning right, cycling through the frequency. It's not stopping on any channel for longer than like 1 second. So if there's a string of words that, if it says like, hi there, or hey you guys, like that's, the thought is that the chances of that are pretty low. Like, it's not even scanning the channels in order, so it's not going from like 99.7 to 99.8. It's going like 99.7 to 105.3 to 84.1. It's jumping all over the place too. So it's not even like any kind of scanning pattern. So the idea is that it's just as random as possible, and the static helps us to be able to hear live, with the live voices. So we've been using that, but now the Ovilus, it works similarly. I mean, it has a scanning ability, but it also emits its own electric field, and it uses like an algorithm and a bunch of math and crap. And then it speaks words. Now most of the time it's just random words and it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but we have been getting some pretty consistent results. Like, we get the name Ike, book, art, and coloring book. We get those two words back to back a lot. And the WereWoofs team says that's because when they investigated Pennhurst before I joined, they picked up the spirit of a patient named Ike. And ever since then, he's always came through on the Ovilus. Like, that is Ike's favorite thing. That's like his toy to use. That, and it doesn't fail. All 3 weeks that I've been out with the crew, those same group of words have came out. It's been Ike, art, coloring book or color book, or some alteration of that. And nothing else has ever came up from a previous night. Again, another night, just the things relating to art. So I'm kind of like more on the tempted to believe maybe Ike is an actual spirit, but I'm skeptical of the Ovilus because of the technology and the way that it works. It seems like it's easy to trick yourself into believing that it's picking up something, and then once you believe, you can make yourself hear familiar phrases. So it could just be making a noise like "get," and you think, oh, it said Ike, because you hear like the k part, and you're remembering a previous night, and then you tell everyone else that's what you heard, and then everyone hears it, and then all of a sudden Ike becomes real. That is a thought, but I am more leaning towards this Ike is a real deal side of the fence here. I would just need to do the research and find some patient records from Pennhurst saying that there was an Ike and that he loved to color and stuff like that to confirm what the Ovilus has said. Let's see. Now, so Patrick is saying, also, when those types of gadgets generate profanity, it's powerfully suggestive that they're really working as advertised, since profanity on air is prohibited by law. Okay, yeah, very true. So that's another good point. Um, we have gotten uh, a gross amount of vulgar uh, feedback responses. You know, very, very clearly hearing, um, the ghost box cuss us out and call us profane names. It makes me very uncomfortable because usually spirits who speak that way uh, are your negative entities. Not so much demons, but kind of along those lines. Demons wouldn't waste the time actually talking. I don't believe they would spend their time actually doing things, causing, like poltergeist activity or whatnot. And so, just unhappy negative energies. Now, Curtis, who is our main ghost hunter, been with the team over 10 years. He seems to draw that. So his method is to provoke. Now, this is a good method, just because when it's really quiet, it's a good way to inspire, any energies that are around to present themselves. Only because he is very respectful at the same time. He's not just he doesn't call them names. And, like, by provoking, I just mean he's very persistent. Like, hey, are you there? Hey, where are you? And come on, talk. Come on, where are you? Like, he's very impatient with them, and so that works to draw them out. But it probably also really annoys them when someone's that intense. So that could be why we get that, but it's good because we get results and it helps us to test our equipment too. Do these things really work in the field of paranormal, right? And if things start to get uncomfortable, I mean, we have our cleansings, we have our things, that we do before and after an investigation just to keep it safe and whatnot. I usually go off on my own and do my own EVP session, and then I join the group later just because, we are a noisy bunch. I mean, these guys, we're always talking. We will announce, okay, quiet time. We're gonna have silence, we're just gonna do an EVP session. And you know how long that lasts? That lasts all of 20 seconds. And then we got it. Someone has to start talking. Someone has to start in with something. So we try to be quiet, but that doesn't seem to be the WereWoofs approach. But they get results, and you can go to the WereWoofs Facebook page and to the Curtis's YouTube channel, and I got links to that. I'll post in show notes, and we can see exactly what I'm talking about there. You can hear some of the EVPs that Curtis has gotten off of his body camera, and you can see these places that I'm talking about. So check them out, give them a follow. Blah, blah, blah. I do have the phone lines open tonight. Just by the way, the number to call in at is 443-267-8217. Tonight might be a good night if you've never called in but have thought about it before. since I don't have a guest. I don't have an interview tonight. But if not, I mean, it's okay. So, let's see. So yeah, that was Paw Paw and the Mass Grave. And we've been doing, graveyards, also cemeteries. So we found an abandoned cemetery that was basically just forgotten about. And it doesn't help much that this is West Virginia. I mean, just because of like stereotypes and the hills have eyes and things, like it just adds to the creep factor so much. I really love it, and we've been literally hiking like 15 miles. Holy crap! No, I'd still be asleep. 15-minute long hikes, from like the parking lot to our destination. But just remember, I did say that we had a tour guide. Okay, the last 2 weekends we had an official, like, on the books tour guide. We had permission. We were allowed to be in these places. Everything was accounted for. And the first week, we ended up just in ℙ𝕒𝕒𝕒, which is a public park. And there were other people there too, just on walks and hanging out down at the Concord Point Lighthouse. We were not trespassing. We were not breaking any laws. We were not causing any destruction. Everything was very on the books. Just gonna reiterate that. Everything was on the books. And these places had been researched and not investigated, but that we had done daytime investigations, whatever. Just scouting, daytime scouting trips to get the lay of the land. Not that we're going in blind in the middle of the night, our first time there. We have an idea of what's around us and where we are and what to expect along the paths and everything. We just have some expectations. And we know ahead of time how safe it will be at night and, blah, blah, blah. So, permission is key. This week, I think we're going to stay in ℙ𝕒𝕒𝕒𝕒. Again, we have a couple places in mind that I'm looking into. I'm got some emails out, things like that. So we'll see where we end up. I do want to talk about a couple of non-spooky but related things. First of all, I dropped all of the prices in the Teespring store today by 50% because they are expensive. They just are. It costs a lot of money to make stuff. Ink, people's time, materials, however you say that word. And it just costs a lot. And I have to charge even more if I want to see, like, any kind of profit. Literally. So, I just today dropped everything by 50%. So now I am making as little as 50 cents and as most as I think $5 off the sale of everything in the shop. So just keep that in mind if you do buy anything, that all I'm getting out of it is a couple bucks. So I'm not, I know the prices are a little on the moderate side, but it ain't for me. It's just what it costs if I want to have merch, and I think y'all wanna look good for Halloween, and Coffee with the Dead merch looks good on anybody. I also have pet hoodies, super exciting, and fanny packs. I might be the most excited about fanny packs. So go over there, check it out. Also, there is an additional 30% off coupon floating around out there if you poke around on my social media pages, you can find it. I'm not giving it away on here. You guys gotta actually work for that. I already took the prices down 50% for you guys. So there's an additional 30% off there. So I will make zero profit this month for when people use that coupon. I will actually make negative dollars. But that's cool because it's October and y'all should rock my stuff and spread the word of the show. 'Tis the season, people pay attention more, right? I got the Patreon site up and updated. Not that it was ever down, but I have it updated with 4 EVP files that you guys can go through from past investigations and see if you hear anything extra on there. Let me know. Now that those are only going to be visible to those of you in the oh, my kitty's here. Only going to be visible to those of you in the EVP tier or higher. So that's the 2nd tier or higher. Now there are one of you in that tier. I think it's Chris Geyser, who is a shadow member, or is a EVP tier member. So thank you, Chris. And then my 2 cat hairs in my mouth. My 2 shadow tier members, Lisa Rambo and Haven Van Heusen, if y'all are listening. Thank you so much for your support on 1st tier. You have access to investigator journals. So, chat is quiet. And you know what? I think that's my fault because I took a 2-week break. So I broke everybody's routine of coming in every Sunday and hanging out. They kind of started to give up on me. I mean, it does say there's 7 people watching. Not that that's too great, but that's more than 0. So hopefully I won't be taking a 2-week break again anytime soon. I think I have a splinter. That's why I'm looking at my hand. Kind of hurts right now. Weird. And people's root habits and stuff. I hopefully will build back up. So what else is going on? So that's on the Spirits Weekend, and I gave you, kind of an update about Coffee with the Dead. I feel like I am forgetting something pretty major. I don't think I am, though. Yeah, Halloween is not canceled, by the way. It is very much a thing. It is very, very happening. Halloween houses are open. Haunted houses, whatever you want to call them. They are open this year. I know some places are doing drive-through haunts. I'm not sure exactly how spooky that can be. It might be more of just an art exhibit and cool, spooky stuff to look at, more so than anything to scare you. And hayrides are definitely still happening. I'm trying to think. I know Legends of the Fog in Harford County, Maryland is open. They're the ones doing one of the ones. I know that there's another one I can't remember the name of. There's two haunts that are doing the drive-through, but Legends of the Fog in Harford County is one. Then see, Bennett's Curse is still open, which is amazing because they're one of my favorites here in Baltimore, and they're inside only, so I was not expecting them to open, but they are. And it's a beautiful thing. My second favorite one, Nevermore, is not opening. They are closed for the season due to the COVID. Let's see. Bishop Arson Scientist says hayride equals chigger bites. I mean, it could. I've never heard of it happening. My concern for me with hayrides is that I'm allergic to hay. So, it could, just make me itchy, make it hard to breathe. I've had pretty good luck on hay rides though, as far as my allergies and, not dying is concerned. Except for, when there's a lot of movement and all the dust and stuff gets stirred up, then I'm just like, well, at least I'll die in somewhere spooky, right? Doing something cool. They're keeping them pretty clean. Man, that splinter's in there. Ooh, that's so annoying. Where's there wood in this house? There's not a lot of wood. What did I do today? I made dinner and slept. Well, anyway, it's just a ghost splinter, haunted piece of wood. So, yeah, Jason's Woods is open. They're doing the carnival is their theme. Their hayride is open, and they've been getting slammed like crazy. People just want to get out, and Pennsylvania doesn't have any COVID restrictions on their Halloween shows. So they got everything, all their attractions open. The corn maze, the hayride, Carnival of Fear, I think it is. The whole thing is carnival themed this year, but Carnival of Fear is always there. And then was it clown? No, zombies. Zombies thing is open. Yeah, so all their attractions are open. Let's see, who else? Bennett's Curse. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check them out because, like I said, they're one of my favorites. And my other favorite, the Nevermore Haunt, is not open, which sucks. But yeah, gonna do Bennett's Curse. I'm on the fence if I'm gonna do Legend of the Fog, honestly, because the drive-through haunt thing seems a little. And my ticket should be cheaper. I don't know. Let's see. Ghost Splinter, not a bad name for the first album by Death Wish Chicken. Who is Death Wish Chicken? Is that the name of your band? Bishop Arts and Sciences is also a musician, apparently. Let's see. Cortisone shots for ParaAnne and a good drenching with deep woods off for me, says Bishop Arts and Sciences. Yeah, that's the result of a hayride, right? Cortisone shots for me and deep woods off the bug spray, the ultimate bug spray. Yeah, for you. Yeah, oh well. I don't know. I also can't stand the smell of that stuff. That stuff will give me an asthma attack. What a mess. Let's see, who else is open this year? A lot really aren't open in a lot of places. Everything in Pennsylvania will be open though, because like I said, they don't have any restrictions. So yeah, like Pennhurst and Eastern State, they'll be open. I'm not gonna go because those places get so crowded. I'm just gonna avoid that whole scene. But we'll see how busy Bennett's Curse is. I said I'm going to go, but if I show up and it's seems unreasonable, I'm gonna leave, obviously. But apparently, people are starting to get tired of being told what not to do. So large social gatherings are starting to happen again, and that's just gonna spread the COVID. And it's starting to hit closer and closer to home, unfortunately. I know more than 2 people now who have it, with first degree lines of separation, and it's just, it's ridiculous. Whatever is actually going on needs to stop. See, but I do have face masks in the Teespring store, speaking of that. So, please buy them and protect yourself. Let's see, Bishop Arts and Sciences says, Death Wish Chicken is the deeper reason for why the chicken crossed the road. Oh, because the chicken had a death wish. Oh. I feel like there's a Death Wish clothing line, or is there a Death Wish coffee? I know there's Bones coffee. Yeah, Death Wish coffee exists. It's supposed to be like super, super like dark brew, super caffeinated, strong, strong stuff, right? I think. Yeah. But I'd be interested in hearing Death Wish Chicken's first album from beyond the. No, let's see, I want to be the grave from beyond the What are those things that chickens are kept in? Oh, from beyond the coop. There we go. Beautiful. So, yeah. I can't think of any other haunts that are really open. Like I said, everything in PA would be, but those are only the two here in Maryland that I know of. I have seen people decorating for Halloween, which is nice. So people are still, feeling festive and whatnot, which is great. But I'm really doubtful that there's going to be trick or treating. I've seen people setting up, ideas with like the long pipes, long tubes, like 6 foot long tubes that they're just going to shoot candy through. But someone's still touching the wrapped candy. So that's no bueno. And then the kid's gotta reach their hand in the pipe and grab the candy. That's no bueno. No good, no good, no good. I don't know. Every town should just have a Halloween parade where everyone dresses up and walks through the neighborhood, or has a virtual costume contest, or everyone has Halloween Zoom parties. Something. Oh, Bishop Arts and Sciences with the dad jokes. I love it. Sort of. He says, so Death Wish Chicken is the deeper reason for why the chicken crossed the road. Why, you ask? To get to the other side. Wink, wink. The other side. But yes, beautiful. Hence his name being Death Wish Chicken. With his debut album, From Beyond the Coop, featuring Bishop Arts and Sciences on keyboard. Or no, it has to be a keytar. On keytar. Yeah. Alrighty. Once again, the phone lines are open if anyone wants to call in and tell me any spooky stories, or if they know of any, if you know of any haunts that are open in your area this season, let me know. The number is 443-267-8217, and yeah, or not, it doesn't matter. You can just type too if you're in chat. So I don't know how many of you know, because I don't have a lot of subscribers on Spotify, but the show is on Spotify, so you can listen audio only there, and it is also on Amazon Music, and Google Play Store has it in their podcast section, Alexa music thing, Pandora, Stitcher, like a dozen other like podcast only kind of sites. So by about like Tuesday or something, you can expect I'll have gotten off my butt and uploaded the audio to the Spotify's. So just subscribe here to the YouTubes, and you'll get a little email reminder whenever I do go live. Follow me over at the book face, Spirits Wake, since we're starting to do things now, or Coffee with the Dead, and both those pages have groups under the same name. that you can ask to be a member of. And also you can just follow me if you want to see what I'm doing, even though generally I cross-post the same information from my page to the other pages. But I am the ParaAnne on Facebook because there is somebody else who just has ParaAnne. Tragic. I mean, I even copywrote my name. I feel like I should be able to, like, tell them to not use my name, but I don't think that's how names work. Let's see. Or you can email me, ParaAnne at cwtd.co, ParaAnne. If you want to be on the show, or if you have, if somebody in mind that you think would make a good guest, send them my way. If you have a ghost story you would like me to talk about, or whatever. I also do paranormal counseling and advising and things like that. And if you're close enough to me geographically, I do free paranormal investigations if you're having some activities of the unknown. So you can also email me to inquire about that. I don't charge unless it's over 100 miles from my house. Then, I'm probably gonna have to get a hotel, and it's probably gonna be a thing, a whole thing. So I'm gonna need compensated for myself to exist near yourself and your ghosts if it's over 100 miles from me. So, just drop me a line. However, I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. I'm all over the place, social media wise and whatnot. Or you can also call that number that I've been giving out tonight, the 443. What's that number say? 267-82. I'm trying to look at stuff without glasses. 8217. 443-267-8217. You can call that number and leave a voice message, and then I'll probably just send you a message back, text you, or some such thing. Unless you really need me to call you, just specify that and leave your number, and I'll actually use my voice at you. But try not to. Oh yeah, Bishop Arts and Sciences said dad jokes are the bomb. Well, I mean, bomb in the destructive, explosive, destroying stuff sense, yeah, they do destroy things like the mood or humor. But Death Wish Chicken needs to happen, so you should work on that. Thanks. We got a few minutes left, so just want to point out, if you go over to the Coffee with the Dead's Bookface page, you can see samples of some of the fun merch and stuff that other people have purchased and shown off in the album called Show Offs, appropriately named. Check that out, and it may motivate you to be my next model. Always looking for new models. So I'm still reviewing the audio from the last two investigations, so after I do that, that'll be up on the Patreon site. So don't forget about going over there and consider joining the EVP tier so that you do have access to be kind of well, you get to be an investigator, really, because most of the work is actually reviewing footage. Anybody can go out and sit somewhere with a recorder going, but the real investigation happens when you're trying to debunk stuff that you got recorded and piece it all together, and it's a lot of science and stuff that comes into play, like looking at frequencies and wavelengths and like thinking about stuff in ways that you may not have previously thought it to exist in, like, it's just numbers. Yeah, like, just breaking down life and death into numbers and frequencies and wavelengths and, um, I don't know if this is gonna be another dad joke or not, because, alright, but Bishop Arts and Sciences says, here's a question: do ghosts ever get sick? See, so the first thing I go to is that there is an illness called the boo flu that haunters, being meaning people who run haunted attractions, haunted houses, and things get every year, just from the stress and long hours and constant running and it being colder and just all of it. Everyone like in the business gets sick, like opening weekend, like they're just sick, and it's called the boo flu. So, oh no, he says it's a legit question. No, I mean, not that I've ever experienced, but like if you're having a more like a psychic experience, you might come in contact with a entity or whatever who is sick, who previously wasn't sick, but you still know it's them. Just because during a psychic experience that can be like from a living someone who's still alive, that can be like somebody who's just like in the astral. Yeah, so they're going to be represented. Yep, they're going to be represented by like how they actually feel, right? So if they're actually like for real sick, then their energy's gonna come across as a sick person in the astral too. But as far as like an actual like deceased entity, I wouldn't think that they could actually get sick. I mean, if they were sick when they passed away, then they may, come across in the afterlife as just being sick. But then they would be persistently sick. It's not like they'd be sick sometimes and not sick others. That's my opinion. Like, I don't know for sure. He's just like fascinating. ... I'm sure you have opinions on this too, though, Bishop, because aren't you an investigator yourself? So, what do you think about that of your own philosophy? I mean, they could get like, mentally, like they could be like sick of dealing with somebody, but I don't know about like an actual ailment. I think they can come across as seemingly sick if they're not getting enough energy, or if like their energy is draining and they're becoming like their impression is becoming weaker. It might seem like they're sick because they just can't come through as clearly as they used to be able to. So in a sense, that could be looked at as an ill spirit. But I don't think they like get a cold or get the flu or get chickenpox or anything. And then let's see, Bishop says, I'm just wondering, think about elementals. There seems to be a whole invisible ecosystem of things made out of the same stuff ghosts are made from. Dude, that is a whole other, maybe multiple episodes, and I was just having a conversation about elementals yesterday on the drive home from West Virginia. Elementals, in my opinion and experience, are not dead. They are living beings that come from the elements that make up every material: earth, air, wind, fire, and spirit, which is not a material, but it is an element. the four main ones though: earth, fire, air, water. Elementals from those things would be like the energy that you feel from a bonfire. It's the energy being outputted from the fire. Those are the elementals, right? And just like with deceased spirits, they leave energy stains. So somewhere where there used to be a river, but the riverbed is dried up. When you go there, if you're sensitive and intuitive, you can feel the residual like energy from that water having been there, and everything that was in the water, all the life, the fish, the bugs, whatever life forms, it all just leaves a stain. But I think that's different than talking about like a ghost. Like they can leave imprints and energy stains, so you can have like the ghost of an elemental, but you wouldn't have an elemental. The elemental is still living. It's not, that energy is not a memory, it's current and interactive. And yes, it absolutely can get sick. If you don't treat your surroundings and your environment well, it gets sick. But it doesn't get like a cold or the flu like how like people get sick. It gets sick in its own way, whereas like the grass isn't as green in an area, or it doesn't grow as tall, or a tree doesn't stand up straight, it leans, or it has fungus on it, or the water's not crystal clear, it's murky, because it can't keep up with itself anymore because of whatever has happened to it. See, he says there's maybe an elemental version of things like plants and animals. Yeah. Maybe even elemental versions of pathogens. If so, it's theoretically possible for a ghost to catch a cold. Well, maybe. Theoretical for a ghost to catch a cold. So, for a deceased person, for their energy to have a pathogen attached to it, which would then, okay, because energy, okay, so the pathogen has its own energy or like element aspect to it, and then the deceased person, the ghost, has energy, has the element of spirit. So a pathogen could like stick, kind of like putting a sticky note on it or putting a mask on the ghost. So it wouldn't actually, so the ghost wouldn't actually be sick. It would just have a mask of a flu or a cold or something. So it would appear ill, but it wouldn't be. You'd be looking at it through a filter, and the filter is the pathogen. So you'd be looking at it through the lens of an illness, but it wouldn't actually have infected that ghost. It could just take the appearance of, but it's just because there's two elements stuck to each other, right? But one can't actually take over the other. Like water can't become fire and fire can't become water. It could, well, wouldn't become, but I guess one could destroy the other. So you're not going to have both, you're going to have one or the other at any one point in time, but you may catch them in the middle of the in like during the change. So you might be able to see them while the pathogen is taking over the ghost, or the ghost is taking over the pathogen. And then it's like seeing them during a battle, and then the end result is there's either the pathogen or the ghost left. They'll never be both at the same time. It has to be one or the other, because like that's how elementals work. They are the purest form of whatever they are. So if it's air, it's 100% most pure air ever. If it's fire, most pure fire ever. Like there's no bit of interference or dirt or any other element in it. So if there is, then by definition you can't call it an elemental. Then it would just be called like, you'd have to come up with a new word. It'd be like just tainted. It would be something new, something different. So you say, I think of elementals as a different order of life. They're biological like we are. They aren't made from physical matter, but the same principles of evolution and natural selection apply. See, so I have like more of like the I don't know, like spiritual magic kind of background, right? So when I was practicing Wicca, way back in the day when I was like, I don't know, I think I practiced from like 13 to 16 years old. Elementals were things that could be created through magic. And you could ask them to do you a favor. So if you wanted revenge on somebody, maybe you would invoke a fire elemental to go out and like hurt them, to burn them or destroy something precious to them, or something like that. And then if you just wanted to be grounded and like more in tune with yourself, maybe you would basically make like the light version of a mud baby to represent an earth elemental. So you imbue it with a certain with the earth energy, and it was supposed to like help manifest your desires more that way. So you say, if you think of a physical virus as a thing that propagates by stealing your physical biological energy, why can't there be some kind of elemental version that uses the energy of a ghost to propagate? Sure, but it's still going to be one or the other, because like elementals are like the purest form of their element. So it could eat or destroy other elementals, but it doesn't become them. It just becomes a larger version of what they already are. So that pathogen might destroy all the ghosts in its way, but it's just going to become a stronger pathogen. It's not going to be like a ghost with a cold, I think. And then thought forms is what we called what you're talking about in the 80s. Yeah, thought forms are still used. So is the term like golems, and it's different terms, things like that. But golems are usually like, I don't know, they can get wacky. There's a lot of interesting stories about them kind of having a mind of their own, kind of people kind of being taken over by them. But creating an elemental is just the Wiccan way of saying thought form, And in the fairy realm, there are elementals who are also fairies. So it's like fairy is the main category, then there's elementals, and then there's your 4 branches of elementals. So there's the earth fairies, water fairies, fire fairies, air fairies. And then in each of those 4 categories branches off to the specific groups of fae folk. Like the earth has brownies and gnomes, just as examples, and the water has sylphs, the air has nymphs, there's salamanders for fire. It just goes on, and it's just a more detailed breakdown as you go. So elementals is really like what is represented, but it's a living, real thing. Either if it's a fairy or if it's just an energy or whatever, but it's just the purest representation of whatever element. Yeah, definitely food for thought. And if anybody else listening has any thoughts on that, just drop me a line, either in comments or message me or email me, whatever. And, it's all up for debate. There's no real hard science to back up anything that we're talking about. So it's just open discussion, And as I think about it more, my opinions might change. But I was just talking about this yesterday on the drive home. So it is so ironic, Bishop, that you're bringing this up right now. Literally, like almost verbatim, this conversation yesterday. Very interesting that you brought it up. Alright, guys. So that is it for me. I did manage to fill an hour after all. Yeah, it is lots of fun to talk about Bishop, and we can continue that conversation later if you want. It's very deep. There's a lot of branches, and I think you almost have to decide, are you going to talk about fairies? Are you going to talk about plants and earth and water, like the actual elements? Are you going to talk about ghosts? Are you going to go the Wiccan route? Like, I almost feel like you have to pick a path and just talk about that one path. Otherwise, like, you can't try to bring everything in to have one philosophy. You have to accept that there's going to be multiple philosophies, or even multiple definitions or multiple existences of elementals, because that just might be the way it is. Yeah, I do have an episode in mind for that. I'm gonna break out ye old whiteboard and make a, the circles with the lines and the visuals. So, all right. Well, that is it for me for tonight. I am gonna go do a Facebook Live, maybe just for a little bit. I don't know. We'll see what the response is like. And that's it. So I'll be back next week with Bill Hellman to give, he has like the historical background on the places that we've been, and he can definitely talk more on the history of wolf drivers and werewolves and all that fun stuff that I've been up to the past 3 weeks. So stay in touch, be a Patreon, and buy my merch. Alright, until next time, guys, remember, the veil is thin.